family and I went to Honolulu, Hawaii for the Mrs. America pageant. Mrs. America. How many of you have seen Mrs. America on TV? Oh, you can admit it. We're with the girls. You can admit it. I never watched the pageants. Never. Well, I had only seen it on TV one time. I really didn't know a lot about it, but I learned a lot about it in the preceding months. But I was so excited. I was so excited to be part of this. I felt so completely like a fish out of water, but I was excited to be a part of it. And when I was growing up, I watched the pageants as a little girl because it's such a fantasy world, isn't it? It's such a fantasy world, and you see the girls in the beautiful gowns, and nowadays, well, there's not much to the gowns, is there? But back then, you would have thought it was a sackcloth compared to what the pageants are now. And they're in the beautiful gowns, and they got the crown, and it was such a fantasy world. And I loved the pageants because my life was not a fantasy. So going to Mrs. America, it was like having a dream come true of sorts. But I have to tell you, as I got out of the limo at the Hawaiian Hilton, I walked out of fantasy into a world of smoke and mirrors. Nothing was as it appeared. Now, don't get me wrong, there were 50 beautiful, gifted women from around our country. We had an aerospace engineer. We had several corporate attorneys, one that even worked at the White House. We had many, many models, some of them even Hawaiian tropic swimsuit models. I packed my turtleneck. I was ready. And I was so intimidated. But I began to pray, to encourage, and to witness for Jesus Christ. Now, what this did, it gave me a front row seat to see the lengths that women go to acquire physical perfection. And it broke my heart. I had lunch with one contestant who literally ate 2 pieces of lettuce and got up and worked out for an hour. She was a size 2. There was another contestant there who confided in me that it was going to take her 3 years to pay off her credit card debt for this 2-week experience. She didn't even make it to the top 10. And there was one gal there who had a gown worth $15,000 that she wore approximately 15 minutes. $15,000. Now, I can't see myself driving up to the drive-through window at McDonald's ordering a couple Happy Meals in a $15,000 gown. But that $15,000 could buy a new car, a new Hyundai off the lot, right? What a waste. What a waste. All for the opportunity to win a tin crown and a fabric sash, to be considered something special in this world. You know, then there were we country bumpkins. Me from Idaho, North Dakota, Rhode Island, New Mexico, Alabama, and we stuck together like glue. We had the borrowed wardrobes. We had very little coaching, if any. And we just went. We shared a great time of fellowship, of prayer time together, and we had a great time. Mrs. America 2002, Christy Phillips. Not a woman that you would pick out of a crowd. But when Christy walked into the room and smiled, it lit up. She had the joy of the Lord pouring out of her. Mrs. Alabama, one of we country bumpkins. Christy and her husband were youth pastors for the Assembly of God's church in Alabama. She has gone on to do fantastic things for the Lord with the crown and the title. Proverbs 31:30 tells us, charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. And that was Christy Phillips. She was an amazing woman. Do you know that 2 women accepted Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior at that pageant? Purpose? God has creative ways of using His children. Even amongst the lip gloss and the hairspray and the rear glue, God has divine purpose. You're scratching your heads. I will do my 30-second eBay pitch, rear glue. I know you're going, what's rear glue and do I need some? Got it? Okay, I've had 3 kids. I used a lot of rear glue. In fact, one of the contestants got too close to me and she stuck to the back of me.